Corvallis in a little while. Good chance to see all the exciting development with the facilities going on, and meet with the leadership and get caught up on the exciting things happening here in athletics and otherwise. And of course, to celebrate Mike Riley's 75th victory and his achievement. So it's good to be back.
This game on the Pac12 Networks here today, your thoughts on distribution and how far away you are with an agreement with DirecTV?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'm thrilled with Pac12 Networks and how it's developed so far. We're only 6 weeks into it. Hard to believe. And in those short 6 weeks, we've already done 100 live sporting events. Last night, with the Oregon-Stanford women's volleyball game, that was our 100th live event, which is pretty remarkable, knowing that a year ago, July, we announced that we were doing this. So very proud of our team that's pulled this all together, got it launched. I think it looks great, and that we've done so many live events, including so much football. Also, from a distribution standpoint, we've got over 40 cable operators that are currently taking the network, as well as Dish. And I think by any standard of a startup network, I think this has been off to a great start. I'm happy with. But we designed this for the fans, and we want every customer of these cable and satellite operators in the country to have access to the network, and we want all of our fans to be able to get it. So we won't be satisfied until everyone takes it, but these things can sometimes take some time.
How much longer do you think it'll take with DirecTV?
You know, it's hard to know. I've studied the way these networks go, and it was only a couple of weeks ago I saw the NFL network finally sign up Time Warner, and I know our friends at the Big Ten, when they started their network, they ironically started with DirecTV, and it took them a year till they got cable operators. And so from everyone I've talked to, it's not unusual for it to take some time. We'd like it to happen as soon as possible. So we've offered to every distributor out there, you know, exactly the same deal that others have. Hope is that everyone will listen to their customers, our fans, and agree to take it as soon as possible. We know there's a huge demand, and that we've got a lot of DirecTV customers that are very passionate Pac-12 fans that want it, and they want it yesterday. So we're encouraging them to make sure that they let DirecTV know how badly they want it, and you know, insist upon it as customers. And obviously, if unfortunately they can't get it, there are options. There are options for everyone, either cable or satellite in the case of Dish.
DirecTV came out and said they offered it a la carte, on demand to you guys. Does that decrease your leverage? Is that why you wouldn't go along with something like that, or what's the reason?
I didn't look at it as that. We didn't really take that as a very serious offer. I think it was probably a bit of a PR stunt. DirecTV carries 50 different sports networks, national as well as regional. None of them are distributed a la carte. So I don't think it was really a serious expectation that we'd distribute our network a la carte. We hope that they take it on the same basis that Dish takes it, that Comcast, Ben Broadband. I mean, you know, we've got over 40 cable operators, as well as Dish, taking it, you know, as part of their service. So Larry, and I guess Big Ten's the other one I'd point to. So DirecTV takes the Big Ten network on the same basis. So I think our fans can fairly ask the question, why would DirecTV take the Big Ten network and not take the Pac-12 network, especially out here?
Will they have to take the same deal that everybody else does, or will you guys budge on it?
No, we had 4 big cable operators sign up a year ago and agree to take it. And our commitment to them is no one's going to get it. No one that comes late to the party is going to get it at a better arrangement, better deal than they get it. And I think everyone in the industry understands that's the way it works. It's the way it works for the Big Ten network. That's the way it works for everyone. So, you know, what we've said to DirecTV is they can have it on a similar basis to what Dish has, what Comcast, Time Warner, all the biggies have.
And why have they said that that's not good enough?
Well, you know, you can read what they've said. You know, I think at first they questioned whether Pac-12, you know, fans are really passionate about this. And then, you know, they're questioning the price. But, you know, we know it's a fair deal by virtue of how many people have taken it and the fact that they take the Big Ten network. So, you know, we don't really find the answers particularly compelling. But that's really up for their customers to decide.
How about on the field? What thoughts on how the league's doing so far?
Yeah, we're off to a great start. I think it was since 2002 was the last time that we've had 6 teams in the AP top 25. So, you know, I'm delighted that I think fans across the country, media, see the conference as having the kind of depth that we believe it's had for some time. We've obviously got, you know, elite teams, and obviously Oregon State's contributing to that right now. So I think the conference is in very good shape in terms of the caliber of our teams at the top. as well as the depth of the conference. So we're coming off obviously 2 previous years where we had 2 BCS bowl teams each of those years. Last year we had 3 top 10 teams at the end of the season. So the conference is in a great place competitively.
What does it say about a team like Oregon State that struggled so much last year, and now they're number 14 in the country?
Well, it's a great story. I think they've surprised some people. It's still early in the season, but especially some of the early season wins against Big Ten teams and Big 12 teams and others, I think made a statement for the conference just in terms of the depth. And I think Oregon State's one of the great stories in the conference thus far this year. It just shows, not only the depth we've got in the conference, but, the other thing that I think is very unique about our conference that's garnering a lot of attention are, the different styles of play. Obviously, we've got a lot of new coaches in the league, a lot of very experienced coaches in the league. There's just a lot of diversity and interesting storylines, a lot of great individual stories as well.
A lot of your coaches have had adversarial relationships with the media this year. Are you concerned at all? Is there anything you can do about that?
Well, I tend to not get involved. The conference doesn't tend to get involved in local relations between coaches and the media. But I did raise my hand when I was reading about some of the dust-ups happening between some of our coaches and the media around injury reporting, and said, the conference has not gotten involved in this in the past, but I'd at least like to have a conversation about it, and open conversation about whether the conference ought to have a policy or not. So, I was concerned about some of the things that I was reading and some of the friction that I saw in some of the markets between some coaches and some media. So we're going through a process of due diligence, and when I visit campuses and some of our other team visiting with coaches, administrators, trying to understand the local relations, media, like yourselves. I've also been spending time with some of my colleagues in other conferences trying to understand the different policies that they have. And we've got a meeting actually next week in San Francisco with our athletics directors, where for the first time in a while first time since I've been here, we're actually going to discuss this and evaluate, is this an area where the conference ought to have a policy? Should everyone approach it the same way, or is it really best left to each coach in their market?
And that's the injury reporting, or just the media policies overall, or both?
Well, I think it's referred to as injury reporting, but it's definitely tied to whether practices are open or not. I've certainly gained an appreciation for the dilemma media have if they're attending a practice but asked not to report on something, and I think certain media have been okay with that. Other media, find that a conflict with their journalistic rules and ethics and all that, and I appreciate that and sensitive to it. So I think it's broader than just do we have an injury reporting system or not. I think it goes to access as well.
Larry, where are you with expansion?
It's not on our agenda at the moment. We obviously expanded to 12 a year ago, had some further discussion about whether expansion might make sense, but I think things are really calming down across the country, and our presidents, when we met a year ago and had other options to expand, decided, we really like 12. And we're just getting used to being 12, used to the scheduling aspects of it and all that. So we really don't have any desire to expand. Obviously, we're not locked into long-term TV deals. We have our own TV network. Not obvious how expansion would necessarily help us. But we're watching what happens nationally. And, I would never say never in terms of what might happen nationally and possibly our feeling to react or get ahead of the curve. But I see things settling down nationally for a while, and that's good for us.
There are some different numbers have been thrown around about what the Pac-12's networks are kicking into each school, what is worth to them. You're understanding how much is each school getting from that?
Right. So I think the numbers that are pretty much out there are as a result of the new TV agreements we struck with ESPN and Fox, which just kicked in. This is the first year of those new TV agreements. And that's got guaranteed income stream for the next 12 years. Everyone knows what it is, and I saw some things reported that Oregon disclosed this week talking about what the first year is, and people know what the average is going to be over 12 years, so I think everyone can figure that out pretty easily. The part that's not completely knowable right now is what will Pac-12 Networks generate for the schools, and the reason it's not really knowable is we're still in the process of getting distribution and selling advertising, so we're not 100% sure exactly what the revenues will be or what the expense side is necessarily. This is the first year of a pretty major endeavor where we're going to be broadcasting hundreds of live sporting events, and it's a startup. So we've been very careful not to give the schools specific projections at this point in time. We need some more time under our belt to see where things settle on distribution, advertising, and the cost side till we do that. So any numbers that have been out there, would be speculation, or sometimes there's some consultants and pundits that make predictions. But we've been very
Can
careful.
you speculate for us?
I tend to not. I leave that to the pundits and consultants. I don't want to take their business away from them.
Speaking to the scheduling and the early goings of the new conference alignment, have you any thought to making the cross-divisional games go earlier on the schedule? Because last year, if USC had been eligible, you'd have Oregon, USC playing each other, I think, over the span of just a couple weeks, back-to-back for the regular season title game.
It's not something that has come up. I mean, we've got a lot of parameters that we do have to work around in terms of scheduling, and we're trying to put all non-conference games first 3 weeks of the season. We've got Thursday and Friday night commitments to ESPN and Fox we work around. We've got Notre Dame in our schedule with USC and Stanford. Then we've got the traditional rivalry games that everyone wants, at the end of the season, before our championship game. And because we now have a championship game that's taken away a week we normally have to work with. So the ones I listed are the parameters that we really try to work around, and we need flexibility in terms of, when it's divisional versus not divisional. So that issue is not one that's really come up as an area of sensitivity. I think people realize we've got other priorities we have to work around.
What about each of the division teams playing all the other teams, but not on the other side?
Correct.